Hey guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and welcome to my craft room. Since I worked a little bit on many things this week, well not many, but I did work on several different projects this week, I thought I'd go ahead and give them their own video. I thought I would go ahead and give them their own video. So I'm going to use this video as a what I'm working on or a Whip It Wednesday works in progress. I'll just basically show you what I worked on this past week. So this is all one piece. This is a backing fabric that I decided, this is the one I found that hubby and I chose previously for our Valentine's quilt for the back of the couch. I have the I love you, flowers, kisses, sweet treats, holding hands, all that stuff, all the lovey-dovey things. I did have the one chunk of this. And then I used, I think it's about 1.5 to 2 yards of this fabric. I don't know if you can see, but I have a little safety pin here. So I've gone ahead and I've pieced the back. And I went ahead and pin basted the entire quilt. So it's ready for quilting. You can see the pins, a little reminder, a little close-up of all these little hearts. A lot of purples and reds and pinks. I haven't woven in the ends yet, but I did a purple and white dishcloth this time. It's got about a medium purple to a light purple with the white in it. This one I use grandmother's favorite dishcloth pattern. Basically, when you knit it, you start with, I think it's about 3 stitches here, and you increase on one side until you get, I go up to 40 stitches, and then you decrease on one side, and it sort of kind of almost turns into a squarish dishcloth. Now I also worked on an Afghan, and I wanted to show you the dishcloth first because I'm actually doing the same pattern, but I'm doing it as an Afghan. I'm using this really big jumbo yarn that goes from, I don't know, it's kind of about an aqua-y, bluish greeny sort of into this brown rusty color. I actually have the label. It's called Mallard Wood is the colorway, and it's the Bernat blanket. I have 2 skeins of it, so what I'm doing is I'm using one skein and increasing on one side, and that'll be the halfway point. And then I'll go down with the second skein and I'll decrease it back down to another point, and that should give me 2 equal sides of a blanket. But we'll see, because the yarn's not always equal. I have this much left of the first skein. So here's a little point. I believe I even started with 1 stitch on this one, maybe 3, I don't remember. And I'm using larger needles. They're probably I think these are a 10. I don't know, they might be an 11. I don't have very big needles. And it's not very long in the cable, but we'll see, it'll be fine. I can squish a lot of the stitches up like this when it gets too big, and after a while you're not going to get any bigger, you're going to start decreasing, so it'll be easier then. So let's see, where was I? Before this week I was here, so I put a few inches on, and remember each row gets 1 stitch bigger as you knit it. This has been sitting in my whips pile for quite a while. Actually, I'd started it as a regular rectangular blanket where you go side by side, all the same, like 250 stitches, and you just keep going. But I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough yarn, and I didn't want to buy any more. So I decided I'll just do the grandmother's favorite dishcloth where you increase, and when you hit the halfway mark and your 1 skein's done, then you do the other side, and you don't have to worry about running out of yarn. And whatever size it is, that's the size it's going to be. I have a feeling the cats are going to try to steal it, or if it's going to be big enough, I'll use it just to cover. Sometimes I'm sitting in my chair in the winter, I just want to throw something over my legs, and I don't want to cover up with a big blanket. I just want to cover up my legs, because even in the winter in the house, the majority of the time I'm wearing shorts, because the house is actually warm. It doesn't matter how cold it gets outside, and you know, it is Florida, it's not going to get that cold. So that got a few bit of time put on that. I think I worked on that maybe 2 or 3 times this week. I put a few rows on this little baby blanket that I'm making. This one is this sweet pea blanket. It's a knit one. This has the feather and fan, or the old shale stitch. This is Loops and Threads Snuggly Wuggly Big. It has a color of, it's called Baby Pastel. Makes perfect sense. Looks like I put about 10 or 12 rows on it. Or maybe just 8. But this is one of my favorite stitches, and it has this nice little ridge, little ruffle scallop on the bottom. This has blues and greens and pinks and yellows. This is the old traditional baby pastel color where it didn't matter if it was a boy or girl, because you just made generic colors like this, and then it was good for when the baby came. Now this was a big skein, so I was working on something else with it. I don't remember what I was making, so I do have it all in little pieces. I'm just going to keep knitting on this until it gets however big it gets. Sometimes I feel like knitting on an Afghan and sometimes I don't. So it's one of those things that I can easily knit. It's a 4-row repeat and it's very memorizable because most of the time you're either knitting or purling. There's only one row where you're actually doing increases and decreases to give it this little ripply effect. So I spent a little time with that one because it's July and it's over 100 degrees in Florida, so of course I'm knitting on Afghans, right? Worked on Robbie's rainbow socks. He is in my turtle bag. You already saw the one sock that is ready to start to heal. And this is where I'd started to heal. This one I probably was way down to here when I first started it. Yes, I was in about halfway through these blues. So I put quite a bit on this one this week too. This one's going to be a little hard to see. There you go. I am working on the Hocus Pocusville. I actually was doing a different type of embroidery thread on here. I had pearl cotton on it. But I think I know I bought the wrong size. I bought it a little bit too thick and it was hard to stitch and I wasn't getting good stitch definition. So I went ahead and I had about this much done. I pulled all the stitches out. I don't know, you could probably see you could see a lot of the holes through here, through the batik. Hopefully it'll come out when it washes. Otherwise, I'm sure when I quilt over it, it won't really matter. So I went ahead and I went back to the regular DMC, the cotton floss, and I'm doing it in white. Jules from Talk to Me Tuesday reminded me, since I was having a really hard time getting the design to be able to see it on this dark purple batik, I was having a really difficult time seeing what I was drawing on and how to actually get it on there. She reminded me that you can use the water-soluble stabilizer, draw it on the stabilizer, put it on your fabric, do all your stitching, and then you just wash this. You rinse it in some cool water, and all of this will dissolve. Now, what you're supposed to use is you're supposed to use a sticky kind, so once you put it on there, it's got a sticky back to it, and it just stays on there. I found this at a garage sale for like 25 cents. Normally, I was looking at them online, they're like $12 to $14 for this. This is 8 inches by 9.5 inch. Sorry, slow down, Robin. This is 8 inches by 9.5 yards. So, this is obviously more than 8 inches. I just overlapped 2 pieces, trimmed one down. I think I used like half of a quarter of a whatever, a third of another piece. Just put on enough here, trimmed it down, saved the extra piece for the next time I do another block, and I'll be able to do the same thing. And I just used some regular old thread. It's just simple white thread because I figured it would stand out and I'd be able to easily see it. And I just basted it down. Is this ideal? No. But it's what I have in the house right now, and I didn't have to go out to the store and spend an extra $12, or even use $6 or $7 if I used a coupon at Joann's. Now, since it's really humid here in Florida, I have it not only in this bag, but I put it in a Ziploc bag too, because once again, it's water soluble and the humidity will make it sticky and it can dissolve. It's been really interesting stitching through this. It's like stitching through, well, almost stitching through a plastic bag. It's got that type of a feel to it. It is given a nice stabilizer, so it's making my stitches lay nice and flat and even. The only problem I'm having is I made the mistake of drawing out the design with blue ink on top of a purple batik. So it's really kind of hard to see the pattern. It's okay. I just have to make sure I have it angled right, because when you're doing this with the overhead light, it makes it hard to see your stitches. So I put up a picture on Instagram where I had it in my frame, and instead of putting my frame up like this, I had to pull my frame down and practically lay it flat like this. It was a strange angle to have it on. But I'm able to really see the stitches now, and I can feel how nice they feel. They're not all bumpity bump like this, so the stabilizer is helping really well. And there's the back. My backs aren't the neatest, but they're really not too bad because I do use an arm's length of thread, so I can get pretty far on it before I have to go ahead and bury my threads. My little seahorse needle minder. So I have these on scroll rods. It's the first project I've ever worked on scroll rods. It's kind of it's alright. I had to add some, you're supposed to put staples in it to hold this little ribbon stuff in, so you have to stitch this fabric to this to make it go on so it rolls evenly. And my daughter has my stapler, and you cannot use a household staple, so it's got these little grooves. I just stuck some painter's tape in there, and I painted it on, and I taped on the this little piece of fabric, and I figured, well, once you start rolling it, it's not going to matter because being all rolled up, it's going to hold it in there nice and steady anyways. And the painter's tape is actually sticking to the wood really well and holding it. So, ta-da! The other thing I worked on, if you've already seen my video earlier this week, last Friday's Sew With Me video, I started working on my red, white, and blue strips. I'm going to be making placemats this week. So these are all ready. I got these all sewn, trimmed them all up, removed all the papers, and filmed a video. So the big project that I worked on, not big, but I spent most of my time working on the... I'm not going to show you what that is because I want that to be a surprise gift when Christmas time comes around. But that was my main yarn project. You saw I worked on a little bit here and there. I spent a couple, few minutes here, a little bit at dinner time there, but that was my main project throughout the week. I actually spent one day only crocheting on that. And my other project is I have all these bear heads. Normally with the rare bears, you can only do 5 bears at a time, where they give you the little feet and the little tag on there. I'd asked for 5. And they say you're supposed to get your tags and your feet within 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks had passed, so I thought, well, maybe there was a glitch in the system because I've asked before in the past and they've just never sent any feet. So I thought, well, I'll just ask again. And I did receive my first package of 5 in the mail, but then the other day, a couple days ago, I got another package of 5. So I had already had 8 bears going that I was stitching up, just in case, because you can do a lot of it before you have to put the feet or tags in. So I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and add 2 more to it and I'll make 10. So yesterday while I was watching the Mom and Pop, you should be able to find them right up there in the iCard, I was watching their live stream on Sunday, and I was cutting out 2 more bears to add to these that I've already got started. I have used up almost all of the fabric that everyone has so generously sent me. And now please wait. Don't worry. Please don't send any more. I haven't decided if I'm going to 100% keep making these rare bears as my charity project. While I have enjoyed the thought of them and I know they're going to a worthy cause, I'm really not enjoying the total full-on process all the way through. They're not difficult to sew, but they're kind of fiddly and frustrating. And you have a lot of small spaces, and I've decided, I've really got myself convinced that I think I would much rather do a quilty project than a stuffed toy project. So I think I'm going to look around, and Project Linus isn't big in my area. There is another project, bear project, where they have actual stuffed bears donated to them, and they make small little blankets to wrap up the bears, and they go to children in our local hospitals. And I think I'm going to go talk to them and see how their organization works and what they supply, and I think I'm going to switch over to them for my charity project. Because I want to be able to enjoy, I want to put love into these projects. I don't want to add frustration into it, because I feel whatever you put into the project is going to carry along to it. You wouldn't want to put bad wishes into a project that's going to a sick child. And sometimes these bears make me swear. They're cute in the end, and it's a really worthy cause, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be for me. I also have Thing 1, Thing 2 Dr. Seuss bear going on here. I decided to just have a little bit of blue with them because I did not have enough of this fabric to make an entire bear. So I thought just part of the leg and part of the arms, and then the rest of the bear will be in this fabric. And I have some more of this Crayola blue. And I know it's not a perfect match, but I went ahead and paired it with these birthday balloons. I thought these balloons were really cute, but once again, there wasn't enough to make an entire bear. And I didn't really have fabrics to go exactly with it, so I just thought I'd go just a little bit crazy and match it up with this. Like I said, I think I have enough fabric now to make maybe one more round of 5 bears, and then I'm going to put a halt on it, and I'm going to put a hold on it for now and try a different charity. And you know, it doesn't hurt to spread it out. You don't always have to stick with one charity. It's okay to share your expertise in your crafting and spread it around more than one charity. So that's what I've been doing this week. I hope you've enjoyed this little extra bonus video. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. And please let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more of these weekly videos where I spend a little bit more time than I do on my Talk to Me Tuesday, because you really want to keep those below 10 minutes. And if you want to sit around and just chat more about what I'm working on, I can do that. If you'd like YouTube to remind you when I put up a new video, go ahead and ring that little bell next to the subscribe button, and they'll notify you when a new video comes up, because sometimes I'm random and you never know when you might get one during the week. Come back on Friday for my Sew With Me, and we'll be discussing placemats. And until then, have a crafty week. Bye.